Hi there, my name is Evie, and you know what? I actually don't think my psychology education or my work with people had helped me understand ADHD as much as my own ADHD brain. So on this channel, I try to create relatable yet useful content for people with ADHD who don't necessarily try to medicate themselves every day, but rather look for some alternative solutions and techniques to help them. In this video today, I'm gonna give you a very easy technique, simple things work, that can help you build back your routines after you have broken them all. So let's say you used to have a couple of routines that you really liked and you benefited from them, but now it's all gone and you want to bring them back into your life, but that's difficult. So in the first part of this video, we're gonna talk about the actionable steps that you can take in order to build back the routines you would like to have. But in the second part of this video, we're going to talk about the emotional resistance that you have towards having routines, and especially for the first 2 weeks, the 1-2 weeks when you have the routines back in your life, and because of that, having routines again, everything feels so dull and boring. So how can you overcome this and maintain the routines? I'm gonna imagine that you come to me as I'm your coach and you're gonna ask me, hey, I used to have a few nice routines. I was feeling good about myself, but then something happened and now it's all gone. I have no routine and my day is a mess. How can I build back my routines? Well, in this case, I'm gonna tell you that we're gonna try a 3-step easy approach to build back your routines. My very first request for you would be make me a list of all the routines that you would like to have. You, not somebody else, not about a morning routine you saw on YouTube and it sounds interesting to you. No, think about it and tell me the routines that you believe would help you, or that sound interesting, or that sound somehow even exciting. Just give me your desired routines. Make me that list. And then from those, tell me the routines that you have already tried, because having desired and familiar routines is the list that we will work with, because this is the highest chance of success. This is the routines that you can truly go back to. You have to start easy to prove yourself you can do it, and after that you can upgrade. Sky's the limit, or not even, but we're gonna start with desired familiar routines. The second step would be, and I'll ask you to give me just one example. Give me one example of those desired familiar routines that you think have the highest return of investment of effort and time. What does this mean? Well, every routine takes some time, to organize it, to build it, but then also every routine gives you some benefit. So we're gonna have to weight all of your routines. It's gonna take some time, but it's worth it. Every single routine that you listed will have 2 points. 1 point is gonna be for effort, and another point is gonna be for benefit. Let me show you an example. Let's say you have sleeping routine, regular exercise, eating regularly, staying in touch with friends or consistent communication, journaling. And the reason I'm giving exactly those 5 examples is because those are very typical issues for people with ADHD. Like, for example, sleeping routine. Even putting routine next to sleeping, it's kind of a myth, because if you have ADHD, then you know how much you struggle with regular sleep, and you know that you may have that sleeping routine for 2 months straight, but then you're gonna wake up late, even just on one Saturday. Then you're gonna go to sleep extremely late on that Saturday. Then on Sunday, it's gonna be already a mess. And not only those 2 days will be ruined, but you have to rebuild that routine for like weeks after that. Although you believed you got it set in stone because it's been so good for so long. But there's nothing consistent when it comes to sleeping routines. That's how we are wired. That's why I'm giving this example. And the reason I gave the example with staying consistent with communication, staying in touch with friends, is because a lot of ADHD people tend to isolate. When they get overly stimulated, for example, they need to stay home where everything is familiar and not many excessive stimulation happens, because this calms our nervous system and it's just kind of giving us the peace that and the comfort that we need. So going outside, meeting people, meeting new people, going to new places, it's very overwhelming, and sometimes to the point of even being difficult to stay close with your familiar, with your good friends, because the world is overwhelming you and you just kind of want to stay home by yourself, do almost nothing, scrolling maybe forever. Just calm yourself down. And then we feel guilty for not responding for a very long period of time to our friends, and then we don't want to respond because we've been selfish for such amount of time. It's a spiral, but there's a reason why I give exactly those 5 examples, and if you have ADHD, you know why. All right, let's now go back to how we're gonna weight them. Each routine can be weighted from 1 to 5 on how beneficial it is for you. The higher, the better. So it's like 5-star review means it's super beneficial. You actually love this routine. It's almost like a nice hobby. You don't even know why you broke the routine in the first place. Maybe something happened, some change in your life that bothered you and disturbed everything, but you truly didn't want to give up on this routine. You really like it. That's your 5-star review. And 1 is something that you don't really enjoy having, but it's kind of helping for something else, or it's kind of something that you see beneficial in the long term, but in the immediate short term, not really much of joy there. So that's your 1, and the 5 is almost like hobby. All right, now about effort. 5, again, it's gonna be your 5-star review. So 5 is your easiest, easy peasy routine. The routine that you could do at any time. The reason you don't have it built yet is because you were procrastinating, or you were kind of lazy, or because you knew how easy it is for you to build it. Well, you know, when something is available, you can always do it tomorrow. Same with that routine. You know that routine, that's your 5. And 1 is something that, wow, that is difficult. That is one of the biggest struggles you have. You know you want it, you know it's good for you, blah, 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 but it's difficult to do it. That's your 1. That's like low grade. Okay, so in that case, perfect scenario, you're gonna have 1 routine that is gonna be your 10 out of 10 routine. Very easy, very enjoyable. And even if you don't have the 10 out of 10, if you have an 8 or a 9, perfect. That's your routine. And this is how we go to step number 3, chunking. The way our brain learns is through chunking and sleep, by the way, but let's stay focused somehow. So when you acquire knowledge sentence by sentence, a paragraph becomes familiar to you, and only then you introduce a new paragraph. That chunking of knowledge is what creates the body of knowledge, and this is also how you actually consolidate memory for the long term. So now, building a new routine is like learning a new behavior, so it makes a lot of sense to approach that the way you're approaching any other learning activity. Do it chunk by chunk, routine by routine. And there is only one rule here. Add a new routine only when the one before has become a habit. So let's give an example. For me, one of the easiest things to do is actually go to the gym. I don't know, I just see it as something that doesn't take my cognitive effort, doesn't take much of my effort. I also don't do routines there in terms of like, I don't do sets, I do random things. I probably don't do what I'm supposed to be doing, but it's okay. I go there, I use the different equipment, I spend an hour moving my butt, and I'm happy with that. Helps my head. Go home. Works for me. Easy, very easy thing to do. Now, beneficial, I don't know, good enough. It's at least a 3. Like, come on. I move, should be fine. Maybe even a 4, it gives me endorphins. So that's a very good routine for me to start with when I have no other routines. And the thing there will be that I'm gonna try to go to the gym for at least 3 weeks before I introduce another routine, because if I try to do everything all at once, I'm gonna get either overwhelmed because it's a lot, or I'm gonna succeed. I'm gonna actually have them all running in my day. And out of a sudden, if you go from this extreme of chaos to this extreme of highly structured day, that is low dopamine. That's a recipe for low dopamine. You're gonna be bored and you're gonna feel like your day is dull and you don't belong to your day. It's artificial, and you're gonna drop it. Not so much because you don't like the routines or it's so difficult to keep them, but because you don't like how you feel. So this actually brings me to the second part of this video: how to sustain the routines, especially at the beginning when they're new and they don't really feel good. So yeah, imagine that you started going to the gym, not too intensely, but hey, you show up. Imagine that you cut off sugar, you went to the store a couple of times and you didn't buy the candy. You even started going to sleep relatively on time, and even on the weekends you wake up at the same time as during the work week. You're doing great, it's fantastic. And you're sad as fuck because what does give you joy then? What does give you the dopamine spike? With ADHD, the thing is that you always have some issues with dopamine. And even if you're doing the right thing and you can reason with your smart, rational brain that this is a good thing, your emotional brain will be like, yeah, but I'm unhappy. What for is that routine? I don't want to do it. It doesn't feel worth it. So how can we overcome this? Well, through understanding of where the problem is. And the problem is that we're overly stimulated and overly entertained. When you have too much of something, then the value of this something is not that much anymore. So your threshold, for example, of when does something become enjoyable is so high because you have so many things in your day that gives you the spike of dopamine that it's actually difficult to get dopamine. So you have, in that case, two options. As an ADHD person, you love your extremes, so you have two options, nothing in the middle. Option number one is go get some drugs or make risky decisions, because either drugs will change your chemical balance or the risky decisions are going to give you adrenaline and dopamine and you're going to feel better. That's your extreme. Another extreme is remove it all. Get yourself some nothingness. And what do I mean by that? By the way, what I'm about to tell you, do it when you're alone, because if somebody sees you doing that, they're gonna think that you've completely lost it. But I'll tell you that you should grab a nice pillow, go and sit on the floor and stare at your beautiful, boring wall for 10 minutes. Even better, you're gonna grab your phone and you're gonna put it somewhere a bit away enough that you cannot reach it easily. You have to get up to reach it, so we're gonna rely on your laziness here, and close enough so that you can hear the alarm. And you're gonna put 11 minutes because you don't want to cheat. I said 10 minutes staring at the wall. That means you need 1 minute to walk, putting your phone, then going back to the wall, sitting on the pillow and getting yourself comfortable to stare at the wall for 10 minutes. That's all. Just every day, 10 minutes. Get yourself bored, because when you expose yourself to nothing, then even something will make you feel something. I know it sounds stupid and silly, but it actually helps. It works, because the problem lies in the overstimulation. So when you give yourself understimulation, then a lot of little things will again bring you joy and dopamine as they weren't for a while. So you are restarting your threshold in a way, a little bit restarting input system, which will then help you to appreciate other things in life and will help you feel better in the stable, structured day that you have now, given that you have a few routines going on. Another way to implement this tactic is make yourself a cup of coffee and you go on your balcony or in your garden if you're a lucky bastard, or sit next to a window and just enjoy that coffee or another hot beverage or whatever, non-alcoholic beverage, and just sip on that whatever beverage and look in front of you. What is there? Try to just describe it. Very importantly, describe. Do not stop on a single thing to create a story in your head. That is starting to overthink, which is coming from a usual childhood trauma, and it's another topic. But I want you here to not get distracted, instead just get bored. So you, for example, are looking around and you're seeing a plant. As an overthinker, typical ADHD, what usually we'll do is, oh, plant, oh, the ends of the leaves are brown, it's probably dry, but is it dry or the humidity is low? Maybe I should give it more water or fertilizer, or maybe just spray it for humidity, or maybe move it to the window, or maybe, as my friend last week said, I should repot it, but actually he was talking about a different type of plant. Maybe I should Google this one. And then 10 minutes down the road, you're already having 3 stories when I just told you to look around and describe the items that you see, for example, which is boring. And that's what I want you to experience. And when you're having this scenario with a cup of coffee, give yourself 15-20 minutes. I'll say 20, but okay, 15 is enough, because having coffee is more interesting than having nothing. So the nothing, the wall, can be 10 minutes. Having something to support the experience like coffee, at least 15, better 20. Do this for like 1 week and you're gonna start feeling a little bit better, a bit calmer. And I know you're gonna hate it. You're gonna be so uncomfortable. But one sunny day or rainy day, you're gonna sit down on that pillow and you're gonna feel peace, and it's gonna feel awesome. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm curious if you decide to try it, how it went for you. Leave a comment and I'm gonna see you in the next video. Bye.